Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Wake Up Call. This is Patty Carson from Kansas, and really excited to be here with this call today. My friend Cindy Wright, she's on the call here, she started this call over 10 years ago, and really inspired me for growth and just to start out on a positive note, in the mornings for 15 minutes and to get my day started right. And right now we're going through the book The Little Things Matter by Todd Smith, and you don't have to have the book to go through this. We just kind of go through it with you. If you have the book, it's great. But today we're on chapter 5, and this was a great one for me. It's listen to and control self-talk. And as guess who's the number one person you communicate with on a daily basis? It's you. It says our minds are in a constant state of self-talk, and these internal conversations characterize how we view the world and influence every part of our lives, our relationships, our achievements, our attitudes, and ultimately our degree. And, he says if this internal dialogue is negative, focusing on the faults, the mistakes, the weaknesses, the insecurities, or fears, it will be virtually impossible to feel good about yourself and advance your life forward. And, I thought that was really good because I watch people sometimes, and I've been there too. I've, had some failures, had some mistakes, and sometimes you can get stuck in that rut of thinking about, I'm not good as this part, comparing yourself to other people. But he says, sustained negative thinking can have a detrimental effect on your health and overall quality of life. He says, if on the other hand your self-talk is positive, concentrating on your strengths, your blessings, your successes, and opportunities, your self-image will be strong and vibrant, and your obstacles won't seem insurmountable, and as a whole your life will become more enjoyable and gratifying. And he says the great news is that you can control what you think. You can replace any negative thought with a more positive and productive affirmation, and you'll soon find that the process gets easier with sustained practice. And the first step, he says, to improving your thoughts is to become aware of your internal conversations and really listen to your inner voice. He's like, are your thoughts, ask yourself these questions, are your thoughts positive or negative? Do they lift you up or do they bring you down? Do they inspire you or do they impede you? And says you need to be aware of this dialogue and its content and make sure it stays positive. And, when it becomes negative, just take a few minutes and analyze the underlying reasons for your pessimistic thinking. And I thought this was really good. He said if you catch yourself thinking negative, you can stop your thought process at midstream by literally saying to yourself, stop. Saying this out loud has power. You're bound to notice the frequency and circumstances of these destructive internal conversations. And he says he catches, whenever he catches himself thinking about one of his failures, faults, or mistakes, he has a firm conversation with himself. And he says using his self-control, he changed the subject. And he confesses that he may have to repeat this self-talk techniques 20 times before he finally stops thinking about a major mistake or a failure. But as with every challenge he's faced thus far, he said in his life, he's not allowed it to negatively impact his overall outlook. And this really hit me because I used to, like I said, we speak to a lot when we do these calls. A lot of things we talk about is we can talk about them because they've happened to us and been there. And I used to be that. I mean, I had some failures in business and, just early on in life, and I caught myself. I was like in this negative mindset. And then, I learned to just turn it around and, have positive affirmations. And I would say, I started saying this, this affirmation to myself, I have blessings coming from every direction. I don't know from where or why, but I'll accept it and thank the Lord for them. And I got where, just every day I would say that. Anytime something negative would happen, I would just turn around and say that. And my kids heard me, growing up, I would say it out loud, just profess it. And I remember if my daughter was in high school and and I was having a really bad day. And she says, she comes and looks at me and just grabs my face, and she said, "Mom, I have blessings coming from every direction." And she reminded me, that of what I've been telling myself forever, and it just changed my mind shift. And I remember that was a big game changer for me in my life, because from then on, it's like I can kind of catch myself. And, I work with a lot of people, and I'll hear them with their self-talk, and they'll tell you that, if they text me or if they say something negative, like nobody listens to me, I'll say something like, everybody's listening to you. I am attracting people from everywhere. Whatever it is, I just kind of turn it around and try to get people to think. Somebody says something negative, I try to get them to think, switch it around to something positive. And it's funny, like they catch themselves now. Like they'll say something negative, and then, I'll chuckle because they'll come back, in a text message and type me back, and they'll switch that language around, because they're learning to control our self-talk. And that's what, we all should do, is just be able to learn, how to control the emotions, in our mind, because it is destructive. If you keep thinking negative, and we say this all the time, what you focus on grows, and if you're focusing on the negative things, your failures and all your weaknesses, and that you're not as good as other people, that's just going to grow. But if you start speaking it, I'm learning every day. I'm getting better every day. I'm attracting people to me. I'm a people magnet. If you start saying those kind of things every day, that will grow. And that's, if you say, I have no money, you're not going to have money. If you keep speaking that, you've got to switch it around. I have money coming from everywhere. Just start switching those things around. And so he always has a challenge at the end of each chapter. And he said, this week is to encourage you to start being aware of your self-talk and determine which conversations are helpful and which ones are harmful. And he says, be mindful that your internal conversations not only affect how you view yourself, but how you react and respond to others. So he said, remember, we all make mistakes. We all have setbacks. We all experience failures. The key is to learn from every experience and use our self-control. So anyway, that's what I have for you today. So I'm going to open up the call so we can say goodbye.
Thank you. Thank you, Patty.
Thanks, Patty. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Patty. Thanks, Patty.
Thank you so much, Patty.
Thank you, Patty.
Good
Wonderfully
stuff.
Thank you, Patty. Have a blessed day.
You too. Thank you. I appreciate it, everybody.